Welcome to Cattle Connect, your insight into Alabama's beef cattle industry. I'm your host, Kayla Greer, and this is Cattle Connect, brought to you by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association. Welcome back to the Cattle Connect podcast. We are in a little bit of a season of change here at the Cattlemen's Association, but it's good things. It's all exciting things coming our way. You might begin to notice on social media, we are going to be rolling out some staff change announcements, maybe some new staff hires, and just wanted to take an episode on the Cattle Connect podcast, take a little minute here with our team to discuss maybe why those changes are coming about and what to expect from them. And then at the second half of this episode, we're actually going to have the opportunity to introduce one of those new staffers. But before we get to that, I wanted to take a moment with ACA Executive Vice President Erin Beasley. She leads the team here at the Cattlemen's Association, and a lot of these ideas, most of this was kind of her brainchild and her vision for the association. And so, Erin, like I've said, a lot's going to be changing around here. Season of change, fruit basket turnover, as I keep thinking about it in my head. What can our members start to see as we begin to roll out some of these staff changes?
Thanks, Kayla. It is a season of change, as you said, and they're exciting changes, and it's just part of the cycle when you're working for any kind of company. But we've been presented with an opportunity, just as we've had the exit of Reed McGuire. He has stepped over to Auburn, become the youth livestock programming specialist, which we're really excited about.
Yeah,
because
congratulations, Reed.
Way to go, Reed. You know, he'll still be really involved with us in a lot of ways,
right,
with our youth programming, which is awesome. But something else, as that was taking place and Reed was, going through that interview process, we felt like he had a really good shot at that job. I started to look at potentially, what kind of gaps we would have here at the association. In that time, we also were in discussions. ACA was in discussions with SLE. SLE had some needs that they had presented, just needing more warm bodies. I mean, that's what it boils down to get the job done.
Right.
And we had also identified within the Cattlemen's Association, our foundation has grown tremendously. Mm-hmm. And that is the arm that does all of the scholarship programming. It would develop anything that has to do with the museum. And then also it also contributes to some youth programming.
Right.
And through the identification of those needs with the foundation as it continues to grow, I began to have discussions with our leadership, with our exec team, our officer team, and just say, hey, I think we've got an opportunity here to take somebody who is Josie Jones on our staff. She is a great asset to the association and our team. I think she would do really well transitioning over into this role, serving the foundation more and also helping the SLE. She was open to that, thankfully. And so we're in a bit of transition with her to move her over to this new position. We kind of have joked around here, Kayla. We can't even come up with a title for it, really.
Yeah, we're still working on a title. So she's just Josie right now.
She's just Josie, and she's fine with that, thankfully. Yeah. But when you're a good teammate like Josie is, you are open and see this as a great opportunity to continue to grow in your career. And so as Josie has moved, Reed has transitioned out off the team. It created two gaps on the checkoff team.
Right.
And so I've told a few people, I've worked for the association 15 years. We've never had both checkoff positions open at once.
It is a little bizarre.
It was really, when I finally kind of dawned on me, I was like, oh, wow, well, let me take a minute, as I always do. Anytime we have an open position, I always pull up the job description from when I hired that previous person, and I take a really good, thorough look at it and assess, okay, where are we today? What are the needs? Do we need to continue doing the things that are outlined? Do we need to add things? And while doing that, it really, it's become evident in the last few years that, two of the most important programs that we do in our checkoff programming relates to our Young Cattlemen's Leadership Program, the YCLP.
Yeah, for sure.
And our youth programming. Mm-hmm. Those are the two that are going to contribute to the future of our industry and to the association. And in the past, those two programs have been handled by one person. Mm-hmm. And with the way that things have developed, it seemed pretty evident that we need to take those and split them off. And so now we've kind of reshuffled all of the checkoff responsibilities. And we will introduce Michael later this episode. episode.
Right.
Michael Smith. So he has joined the team. Michael is going to primarily be working in the YCLP realm. So he'll focus on that. He'll also do some industry outreach that we've always done. We're establishing and continuing the relationships with our stockyards, working with cattlemen's associations on events. And then he's also going to be one that will do some consumer programming as it relates to our adult education.
Right. So go into those like beef promotion events that are maybe a community-centric event or something that is going to garner the audience of adults, a major inner-city cookout or cook-off or something like that, anywhere where there's an adult audience and we want to promote beef to that adult consumer audience.
That's it. So that position will be split between the national and the state checkoff. On the other side of things, we will also have a split between national and the state checkoff. And so that position, which is still open,
right,
taking resumes for it. So kind of going through the interview process here shortly, hopefully. And that person, really envision that person being a really, really strong youth programming person. Come alongside Reed in his new role at Auburn. Really focus in on our youth livestock judging, our youth shows, and be a person that can continue to grow the Junior Cattlemen's events.
Right.
That's going to be the primary focus. And then alongside that, we'll have a good bit of our digital marketing and some of our communication efforts on the checkoff, which is a lot of what Josie previously did.
Right. Yes. So they'll be managing the extension of that Beef It's What's for Dinner campaign here on the state level. And that was a role that I previously served in. And then Josie kind of came in and stepped in and took over. And now this new person, once we get somebody established and in place, they'll take over the Beef It's What's for Dinner campaign and securing ad buys and making sure that message reaches the Alabama consumer in the best and most cost-effective way.
And then kind of a third part of that would be along that youth audience would be any type of consumer programming geared at youth.
Right.
So going into the classroom. Into the classroom. So those are all areas that have risen to the top as focus areas for the checkoff programming in the last few years. As I've told our leadership, and as I've gotten questions about, hey, what's going on with the staff changes and all. The way I look at it is we've got a net gain of one person here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And man, what a great opportunity to be in. It's a good position. I'm thankful that our leadership has supported these ideas and these thought processes, helped me work through them because it took me a while to get pen to paper on what we needed to really focus in on doing. And so I'm very much looking forward to getting the team filled out. We have one more to go. And then once we do that, we'll get Michael rolling, who y'all will meet here soon. And we'll get Josie moved into her new role. And we'll be, full steam ahead.
That's right. Yeah. And so, we keep hearing like, oh, so Michael is the new Reed. Yes, sort of. And then
partially.
Partially. And when we get the next person hired, we're going to hear, oh, so that's the new Josie. Sort of.
Partially,
that's right. So it's not comparing apples to apples anymore. It's apples to oranges as we move forward, kind of with these new changes that are going to be positive for the Alabama Beef Checkoff program.
Saddle up your buckaroos and bring them on down to the museum. Located just 2 blocks from the state capitol, the museum provides fun and learning all in one stop as visitors explore Alabama's beef cattle industry. Learn more at bamabeef.org/themuseum.
So with all of that said, it is my honor to introduce for the first time on the Cattle Connect podcast, the new ACA Manager of Industry Outreach, Michael Smith. Michael, welcome to the team.
Thanks, Kayla. I'm super excited to be here.
Certainly glad to have you. Well, in true Cattle Connect fashion, I'm going to get you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where do you come from? All that good stuff.
Perfect. So grew up in Shelby County, actually, the northern tip of Shelby County, Leeds, Alabama. Still live in Shelby County now. Spent about a decade in the Air Force not long after high school, and got out of the high school and got into the sales world and ended up in 2020. My wife Kelly and I, we formed an organization called Thousand Hills Cattle, and that allowed me to join the Cattlemen's Association. And by doing that, I met you and all the other wonderful folks in this association all across the state, and that led to YCOP opportunities, and now here we are.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that. Tell us maybe about your onset in the association. What was the catalyst for that?
So what we did in 2020, we formed an organization called Thousand Hills Cattle, and our desire for that's pretty simple. We wanted to buy beef directly from Alabama farms and provide that to families in need. So my idea was to basically join the association in order to meet people to buy beef from. So we joined, didn't know anybody, went to our first convention in, I guess it was 2020, and were just received incredibly by everyone.
Yeah.
My wife and I joked, we were driving up to Birmingham to do our first booth at the trade show, and she said, "What do you think is going to happen?" And she's probably more positive of the group. And I said, "Well, probably nobody's going to talk to us." And she
Not at
said,
our trade show.
Right. Yeah, little did I know. And she said, "Well, okay, well, that's kind of worst case scenario. What's the best thing that could happen?" I said, "Oh, well, probably the best thing could happen. Somebody want to give us some beef." And we both laughed, knowing that wasn't going to happen. By the time we left on that Sunday, we had met wonderful folks from all over the state, and we actually had people offering us beef. So,
awesome.
And that's just a testament to this association, just the great folks that are here. I'd already applied for YCOP that year, so I actually met some of my classmates from Class 8 that year at the trade show and at the convention, and that led to a couple months later starting YCOP, and that was really when I learned and came to realize everything that the association has to offer.
So, Michael, earlier when we were talking, you made a comment that if you could have written out your own job description, it would have been the one for this role exactly. You said nothing more and nothing less. Explain that a little bit. What is it about that role that fires you up?
YCOP had such a profound impact on my life, and just getting a glimpse of the diversity of the cattle industry in Alabama alone. But meeting, it's I know we get so wrapped up in the industry and the cutting hay, the feeding hay, the all the things that go in the day to day, but to be able to meet the people behind it and the people who make it happen, and to see how willing they are to help one another, to help each other solve problems, to provide hands on their place whenever they actually need help, and just seeing all that, and again the diversity of just how it's different across the state, with the geography across the state. Seeing all that, I just fell more in love with it, and seeing, but really the people behind it. So to be exposed to all that in YCOP. And the effect it had on not only me, but my classmates as well. We're still all keep in touch regularly today.
Yeah, that's the beauty of YCLP.
Yeah, and so being able to see that and the good that has come of that years later for all of us, my whole class, to have the opportunity to do that every day, that's a no-brainer for me. Because I truly believe that, the cattle business is not really a team sport. You're kind of on your own with your crew at your place, and that was able to lend some knowledge and expertise and help to one another, and that will help continue to grow the future of the association.
Right.
It strengthens the industry, yes, but it also strengthens the association and those relationships. And so to be able to help foster that for new generations that's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that you're going to be intricately involved in the YCLP program. Erin alluded to that. You've talked about it, but where else and what else may we see you at in this role? And what are your vision? What's your vision for some of those areas?
So I learned from my time in the class. I learned about the checkoff, the beef checkoff program, and everything that goes into that, and seeing the importance of it, and having a sales and business background, I understand the importance of marketing. I understand the importance of letting people know what you have to offer,
right?
And the intricate things that go along with that. So to be able to be involved in a program that helps do that for the folks that are day to day out making it happen,
right?
Out in the pasture, to be able to help them by informing the public. I didn't grow up on a cattle operation, so I think like people that aren't maybe extremely familiar with all that stuff. So I think I'm able to help inform and portray this industry to folks that maybe not have maybe the most extensive background. It basically putting the jelly on the bottom shelf. So, and the checkoff does that in so many ways of promoting beef, promoting the industry, and supporting those that do it and make it happen. So,
Right.
It's honestly my way of giving back. I look at my role here as if I didn't have Alabama cattle producers, Thousand Hills would have never happened.
Right.
Because we don't own a herd of our own. We rely on Alabama beef producers. So if I can come here every day and work for those people and help them and give back to them, then that's been a good day.
Yeah, so we're going to see Michael kind of all over the state, as he's alluded to a couple of times here in our chats at the office, that he's going to be burning up the roads. He's going to be our guy that goes to the stockyards. He's going to be handling adult consumer events. So like think Talladega promotions, and somebody that's going to be out and about representing the association at those consumer-facing events, but also producer-facing events. So really excited about that. We are excited about your vision for the YCLP. He's got lots of good ideas. He's ready to bring them to life. And there's so much fertile ground there with that program.
I agree.
And it has been such an incredible program for the association. It just every year when we have our red coat ceremony at the convention and we award red coats to those county presidents that have gone over the top, man, does it make my heart sing to see one of the YCLP graduates
Absolutely.
that has become a county president, who has gone over the top as a county president and is then getting that iconic ACA red coat. Like, what a full circle moment. But yeah, looking forward to that and looking forward to having you on the team. He is literally 1 week on the job, just 5 days in as you're listening to this. So we are just in the early stages of getting him good and broke in.
That's right. I got lost on the way to the podcast room. So I'm brand new.
Yeah, the office is a bit of a maze that everybody has to overcome within the first month of the job or so. But I speak for myself and the rest of the team here at ACA when I say that we are thrilled to have you, Michael. Glad to have you on the team. Glad to have you burning up the roads in the beef truck.
Absolutely.
And this won't be the last that you hear from Michael in the long haul, but I am going to have to wrap it up today. Michael, welcome. And listeners out there, I encourage you to call the office and welcome Michael yourself. Call him with ideas, or if you'd like to accompany him on maybe a stockyard visit or something in your area that you see as a need for the Cattlemen's Association, give him a call. He's, like I've said, he's looking forward to getting out and about.
Absolutely. I love the cattle producers in the state and love everything that the association does, and can't wait to meet all you fine folks out there.
Yeah. Well, that's all for today, everyone. Again, that's Michael Smith. You can call him at 334-265-1867 or reach out to him on email at msmith@bamabeef.org. He'll be here all day, every day. He is officially on board at the ACA and looking forward to more changes coming in the future. That's all I'm going to talk about today, though, because there's probably 2 more podcasts in the making with that being said. So y'all come back next week for more Cattle Connect podcast. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Cattle Connect, brought to you by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association. Be sure to subscribe to get notified when our next episode goes live. And until next time, remember, beef, it's what's for dinner.